everyone, welcome back to Let's Code to be a Java programmer. And today is day 6 of our coding journey. In today's session, we'll dive into arithmetic operators in Java. These operators are the building blocks for performing basic mathematical operations in your programs. So let's get started. So here, when we hear the term arithmetic operators, we get reminded of addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division, right? So these are the operators which we are gonna implement in our Java program. So now let's get started. Here we have assigned two values, num1 and num2, and then we are storing the addition value in the variable called result, and we are printing out it here. Now let's compile and run the program. Got compiled successfully. Now let's run it. 5 is the answer. Now we'll be doing the same thing for the subtraction. Save the file. Now I wanted to teach a simplified way of running the program. So here we are compiling the Java file and then running it in two separate commands, right? So what you can do is Java space hello dot Java. So with this single statement, the whole program gets compiled and it gets run in a single manner. But I won't be recommending this for doing it in your projects or any other works. But for learning process, you can do it in order to save time. But we don't recommend you this shortcut. But anyways, it is good to learn shortcuts, and that's why I taught you. And this command won't be working in the JDK version, which is less than 14. Only 14 and the versions above 14 has this feature. Okay, so don't worry about this. Now let's use a multiplication operator here. Save the file. Give hello.java and it gives you 6. Yes. Now let's perform division. Save. Compile and run. 0. So yeah. Now this division gives us only the quotient value. Okay. Now in order to get the remainder value, we need to use a operator called modulus. Now this one gives the remainder value. Hello. Okay, so the remainder is 2. That's great. Now these are the arithmetic operators. Now apart from this, we have something else. Now let me remove the second one. Let's say I want the same num1 plus 2. Okay, so this same value num1 gets added with plus 2 and it gets stored in num1, and this reason variable where the value of 4 is stored, it gets printed here. Now let's save the file and see what happens. 4, yes. So also you can have any other value here. Save, compile and run. It goes. Perfect. So this is one way of doing it. Another shortcut of doing this is if you want the same variable to get added with its existing value with another value is you can use the plus operator and with equal to with 7. Now what it happens is num1 which contains 2. Now the 2 plus 7 gets added up and the 9 gets stored in num1. Okay. So let's save, compile and run. 9. Okay. So this is how we can do. Now here instead of plus you can also add minus. Minus 5. So here instead of minus you can also use multiplication. 14. That's great. Division. 0 and modulus 2. That's perfect. So this is another shortcut of doing it. Now there is another thing which is called as increment and decrement. Now let's see what it is. Now num1 plus 1. Now let's say I wanted to add a value, add a single value, that is I wanted to add 1 to num1, and it gives me the value of 3, right? So instead of doing it like this, we can straight away have plus plus, so it again gives me the value 3. So this is known as increment, and even I can add increment like this. Now let's comment this line. Yes, it gives me 3. So adding plus plus operator either after the variable or before the variable gives me the same value, but it has a difference. Okay, so let me tell. Now adding the operators after num1 is known as post increment, and adding the values before num1 is known as pre increment. Okay, so when we use this post increment and pre increment in a single statement, it gives us the same value, but when we assign them to another variable and ask them to print, the answer gets different. Now let me show you. Let's say I'm storing int result is equal to num1 plus plus. Let us print this result. Okay, now what do you think the answer might be? The answer might be 3, right? But the answer won't be 3. It would be 2, the same value 2. Because before this, when we did num1 plus plus, it straight away got incremented and we got the answer as 3. Whereas now what we are doing is we are in bringing two different operators in the same statement. Here is what post increment means. Here the result first fetches the value and it prints that, and only then it gets incremented. So only the first fetched value gets printed in the output. Now let's say when we do pre-increment, the value gets incremented and only then it fetches the value. So we get the answer as 3. Now let's see. 3. Okay, so this is the difference between post and pre. Now there is not only post increment and pre increment, there is also something called as decrement. So where we do it as num1 minus minus. Okay, now let's see what happens if we add minus minus. Can anyone guess the answer? You just pause the video, or you can just have it in your mind the answer, and let's check what the answer would be. Yes, the correct answer is 1, because from 2 it has decremented the value of minus 1. That's great. Now let's do num1 minus minus. See what might be the answer? 2. That's awesome. So that's all for today, day 6. Here we have covered the basic arithmetic operators in Java, including addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, modulus, increment, and decrement. Spend 15 minutes today practicing these operators and try creating some simple mathematical programs. Tomorrow we'll dive into more advanced topics in Java. Thank you for joining me on day 6 of Let's Code to be a Java Programmer. If you found this video helpful, please like, subscribe and hit the bell icon to get notified about our daily coding sessions. See you tomorrow for day 7. Happy coding!